Okay, all right. So at this time, could I have a motion to return to regular session, please?
I'll move it.
it.
All right, Bill Harris, second by Bill Onifree. I have to have a roll call vote, Judy. Judy, all in favor, Judy?
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Bill Harris,
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Bill Onifree,
Yes.
Kara,
Yes.
and Flo.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Mike, you're up.
Thank you, Ms. Lash.
You're welcome.
Just wanted to, before we get into the meeting, we did receive a few emails on mainly Sunday and Monday from a handful of community members, I think approximately 7 or so. One of them asked that the letter be read or the email be read at our next meeting. So it was fortuitous that it was actually that we have this special meeting tonight. So if it's okay with the board, I'll go ahead and read the letter. We all received a form. Is it okay with everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. So it's dated February 7th, 2022. Mr. Rydell or Michael Rydell, I'm writing this letter as a concerned parent of a child who is a student in the Port Jervis School District. I am deeply concerned about the negative effects, both physically and developmentally, that the continued requirement of wearing a mask is having on my child and all children. We have lost the fundamental right to parent our children, and it's time to give back the decision of what is best for children to the parents. I'm trying to wrap my mind around the continued mask mandate. I've spoken to the Orange County Department of Health many times, and they have no information about COVID in children, only the number of children testing positive. The Orange County Department of Health said the detailed information about children is not permitted to be given due to HIPAA policies. However, the number of deaths of adults are reported. In my opinion, I'm assuming the numbers are so few, if any, that we would be able to reasonably deduct that our children are not an at-risk population. I truly believe that our children have been neglected by our federal, state, and local government from the start of this pandemic. They do not have our children's well-being in mind. We as parents have their well-being as our top priority. According to feedback from Senator Martucci's office, schools are operating under a directive from the State Education Department in fear they will lose monetary support. The State Education Department is not the parents of our children. I would hope that the state aid that has been given to our district does not contribute to the lack in your motivation or fear to fight for our children. Certainly, our children are more important than any monetary amount the district would be given. Parents have the right to decide if they want their child to wear a mask. I want my children to know that we as adults are fighting for them, that it is not acceptable to let agencies dictate what choices we have when it comes to our bodies. I want my children to know that it is okay to be a leader and to fight for what is right, not just for what they personally believe. I apologize. I am pleading to you, Michael, to listen to us parents and trust us Americans. Trust us as American citizens. We deserve the basic rights that this country was founded on to choose what is best for our children. This is more than just pushing your personal beliefs of whether you feel masks are helping or not. We have elected you to this position, trusting you would uphold and fight for, at the very least, the basic freedoms and rights of us Americans and human beings. Other school districts in this county and state are fighting for our children, and most states have already unmasked our kids. And I ask you to fight to do the same. This is about our children and we, as their parents, making the best decisions for them. I beg you to stand up and fight for what is right or resign your position. Respectfully, Lisa Egan. So, we all received that, and similar emails over the past 2 days. So, understandably, I just wanted to take a moment, if it's okay, to really just kind of respond to this topic in a general sense. So, understandably, there are a lot of emotions and opinions in regards to what I think we can all agree is a very polarizing topic. Since this all began, we have been given directives, guidance, and mandates, many of which changed or were contradicted, and some were even disproven to be effective as we progressed. I want to emphasize that there is no protocol that our school district has in place or had ever had in place that is not a product of a mandate or guidance from health officials or the state education department. Throughout this entire pandemic, we have attempted to work within the guidelines while still keeping our schools open, our classrooms filled with as many students as allowable, and providing the services and support to the students, our personnel, our staff, their families, and all of this to the greatest extent possible. So there's no one person in this district, including each member of this Board of Education, that really had any other goal or objective since this all began in March of 2020. So like I said before, we received 6 or 7 emails over the past few days that were similar to this, and whether I or, quite frankly, any of the board members agree or disagree with the overall message of this email, that's really irrelevant. What is important is that I and we make decisions that allow us to provide the safest learning environment possible, maintain fiscal or financial responsibility to the taxpayers, the staff, and the students. And regarding advocacy, I think those that have been on this board over the past few years would agree that I personally am a very vocal advocate for the students and for what I feel is correct and just. But to just quickly speak to a few of the points in the letter, and I want to make them relatively brief. For other schools, quote unquote, fighting for our students, this may be in reference to letters that were posted regarding board's positions on whether or not masks would be mandated if the state mandate was lifted. In other words, allowing for the choice. Well, we did not do this, and we didn't do this intentionally for one simple and consistent reason. If the mandate is lifted, then we will not have a mask requirement. I believe that we would follow, and as we have all throughout this, we will follow what we're mandated to do. I believe that this is a similar reasoning that many of the school districts that did not post such a letter also followed, but I wouldn't know that. And I don't fault those that did. I just know that we didn't for that very reason. And this is really similar or analogous to our weekly testing that we do for unvaccinated personnel. We're doing it because we're required, not because we feel it's needed or necessarily even benefiting our schools or our community, but because it's required. If they lift this requirement, then we will in fact stop the testing. So when it comes to the financial component, that one did rise some concern because there were some comments that made of lining pockets, or that we, in this particular email, that we valued the financial aspect more than the children. Couldn't be more to the contrary. Like most school districts, we do rely heavily on state aid as a source of revenue, and it's also my responsibility to manage the fiscal health of the district. None of this benefits us as individuals. It's in the realm of the school district. So correct, we don't know if there will be a fine. We don't know if there will be a deduction of state aid or other financial implication. We also don't want to be the district that finds out what that ramification is. We've seen the memos, we've seen the messages. We know that's always a possibility. Another piece in this regard to be considered, and whether or not one follows a mandate, is one doesn't know what would happen if they don't follow it. For example, let's just hypothetically, someone gets sick and the worst outcome occurs. There is an indefensible liability to the district if that were to happen. And it is important to note that our insurance company did put out information early on regarding following mandates and how we would be potentially not covered in an instance of disregarding a mandate and any sort of litigation that came from that. So I'll try to wrap this up, but there was also a reference to surveys. Why didn't our school send out a survey? I think this is a good opportunity to address that as well. It was also intentional to not do so because I don't know what I would do with this information. If I were to put out a survey to see who wants the mask optional or not, I don't have the authority to lift that requirement. So therefore, I would only be, in my opinion, adding to the polarizing and politicized nature of this topic. And full disclosure, I have not seen the surveys that they're referencing, or I don't even know the results. But I just know that if the mandate is lifted, and I'm hoping that that day is very close, then we lift the requirement, irrespective of a survey. And it's not to say we don't value parent voice in our decision making. It's just, in this case, it's just not applicable. I will end this longer than expected response with the fact that Governor Hochul met with some stakeholders today, and while very little real information was generated from that meeting, we did read that it is expected that there will be an announcement regarding the indoor mask mandate scheduled for tomorrow. New Jersey and Connecticut, as everyone knows, announced their end dates yesterday. New Jersey, I believe, is March 7th, and Connecticut is February 28th. So perhaps our governor will also provide us, as I believe we certainly deserve it, either a date or a realistic metric that will be used so that we will know, how we're going to follow the same path as our neighbors. And to just really bring this to an end, I will reference the last line of the email, which read, "I beg you to stand up and fight for what is right or resign from your position." I find that to be just an unfortunate statement. I believe it stems from an initiative that goes far beyond Port Jervis. It's going on statewide, and understandably so. So it's important to emphasize that there are times that each of us, we must check our personal opinions at the office door. Our role is not to advocate for what is necessarily personally important or an ideal or a political viewpoint or really any other individual perspective. It's to do what's best for the entire learning community. So I'm proud of the work of all of us, our entire Port Jervis staff, and the Board of Education has been incredible to navigate through all of this. We did this through collaboration, deliberate planning, and keeping the entire community at the forefront. And I'll just close with, this will not change.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rydell.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well said.
Sorry it went longer than I expected.
I think it was necessary.
Are we done streaming?
No, Bill, do you have the flag? We have to have that other. We're full live until we adjourn. Bill, do you have the flag so we can do the pledge? I forgot to do the pledge. Sorry. Thank you. Okay, can everybody stand for the pledge, followed by a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance
To
to
the
the
flag
flag of the United States
States
of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
Battery's dying in case
What?
my battery's done in case I
Uh-oh. All right, we'll try to make this quick, okay? So at this time, I'd like a motion to remove from table item 4B, which was tabled from the February 1st meeting.
So moved.
I'll move it.
Brian, second by Nancy. Again, I have to do a roll call vote because it's a Google Meet. Judy,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Bill Harris,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Bill Onifrey,
Yes.
Kara,
Yes.
Flo,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, item 4B is resolution for the rejection and rebid of certain capital project contracts. May I have a motion and a second to bring this item to the floor for discussion, please?
Bring it to the floor.
Bill Harris, second by Flo. Okay, so the discussion will be to, what's the actual motion? Flo, can you read the motion, please?
Motion to remove, oh, am I on?
What do-
Motion to
yeah.
remove from table action item 3B, tabled at the February 1st, 2022 regular meeting, item 8F.
Okay, so that's what we did. So we're gonna just. All right, so we're gonna remove from table. So I need all in favor to remove from table.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
No one- Okay, everybody's for that, all right. And now I need a motion to, it's a separate motion, right, Mike, to reject certain ones and retain certain ones?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so we want to, do we have to specify which ones we're going to reject?
I think that for the record, it would be prudent to verbalize which one we're rejecting, correct?
Okay. So, Flo, do you have those in front of you?
Excuse me?
Do you have them in front of you?
Yes, I do. Would you like me to
Okay,
read the resolution?
Yes, please.
Resolution for rejection and rebid of certain capital project contracts. Whereas the city school district requested sealed bids for the middle school additions and alterations project N. Whereas the district received an open bid proposals for the project on or about January 19th, 2022, and whereas the district and its architects and its construction manager evaluated and reviewed said bid proposals in accordance with the criteria set forth in the advertisement for bids and the bid specifications. And whereas, based upon said review and evaluation, the district administration recommends that the Board of Education reject all bids and re-advertise for new bids for the following contracts of the project. Contract 1, General Construction Addition. Contract 2, General Construction Alterations. Contract 3, General Construction Additions and Alterations. Contract 4, Electrical. Contract 5, Plumbing. Contract 7, Site Construction. Contract 8, Food Service. Contract 9, Windows. Contract 11, Mechanical. Whereas the Board of Education has determined that the best interest of the school district are not promoted by award of the contract at this time. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby rejects all bids submitted and received for Contract 1, Construction Additions, Contract 2, General Construction and Alterations, Contract 3, General Construction Additions and Alterations, Contract 4, Electrical. Contract 5, Plumbing. Contract 7, Site Construction. Contract and 8, Food Service. Contract 9, Windows. Contract 11, Mechanical, and authorizes the school district to re-advertise for new bids for such contracts.
Thank you, Flo. Okay, so do I have a motion and a second to approve this?
We need to
already did that,
amend
right?
it,
Okay.
right? We're keeping 2.
And then we're going to keep the other two. So at this point, is there any discussion or questions? Okay, so again, it's a roll call vote. Judy?
Yes.
Brian? Brian?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Bill Harris?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Bill Onifrey?
Yes.
Kara?
Yes.
Flo?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, so that motion is carried. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
I
I'll
said,
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed?
Roll call.
Okay. I don't need to do a roll call for that. All right. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight, for your patience as we navigate through this really huge project here that's going on. Hopefully we'll get it off the ground in the very near future. But thanks again, and we'll talk again on Tuesday. Have a great
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.
Hi, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.